Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Colton Maravellius, or as the internet calls me, Ill-Fitting Trousers. And this is the Weekly Rundown, the only podcast that has a license to kill. I'm here today with my buddy. I'm glad, the goal is to make people chuckle, so I'm glad you laughed.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I was like...
So, I don't know why I was backing up. Today we are here with my very, very great friend and just excellent all-around streamer, number one unofficial official Smash Sora player, Treehouse. Treehouse, how's it going today, man?
Good, dude. I'm doing great. I love the unofficial official. I'm gonna have to steal that. So, because
No.
they can't get mad. They can't do anything. Yeah.
It's unofficially official.
I'm doing great though. Thank you, Trousers, so much for having me on the podcast and stuff like that. So, me and Big Pika are very excited to talk, even though he's kind of suffocating right now.
Yeah, he's also a little bit cropped out on my
yeah. Oh, it's okay. No, you're good. You're good.
I felt bad. I wanted to get him in, but it's
no, it's all good. We did have before the podcast started. We did have Big Pika as a whole background instead of what you guys see now. So maybe next time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I hopefully. Yeah. You're welcome on back anytime too. By the way.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, you're always welcome in the treehouse as well. So. But yeah, dude, I'm really excited because I know we were talking about discussing some video game music for the podcast.
But before we get into that, Tree, where can we find you? Where can we look at your stuff? Where can we?
I am, believe it or not, I am not in your average treehouse. I am. Follow me on, you can find me on Twitch, treehouse_TTV. My Twitter, Instagram handle are also the same, as well as my YouTube, where I'm trying to post some clips and monthly content as well. But I do stream a lot of Smash Bros, Pokemon Unite, and some Kingdom Hearts as well. On the weekends, I'll try to do something a little bit different. We've been playing Fall Guys recently on the channel, and I think I'm already addicted. It's dude. It's like, where was I the past like 2 or 3 years, man? Yeah, it's such a good game.
You got into it when it was free though, so I mean, like, it's
that's true too. That's true too. Yeah.
But yeah, so guys, all those links will be in the description below. Go ahead and check those out. Yeah, especially if you want to see top quality Smash content for like 12 hours at a time. I know. It's like I've literally I think you go live like right before I go to work.
Okay.
I will like try to put if you are I like try to put your stream on before I leave.
Oh, dude, I'd appreciate it, man. I know, I see it too. Like the people who are lurking stuff, like I know, like I really appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much.
And then like when it's slow, I'll like hop in your stream too, just because it's like it's so fun to watch, like on my break or like when I'm just sitting around.
We're a little wild, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I love, the chaos.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, today, as Tree was saying before I had to interrupt him, we are talking about music and video games, and I guess this episode would be Now That's What I Call Music and Video Games Volume 2, because I know we've done it before, but...
I love that title. That is so perfect.
It's great, right? Like,
that's amazing.
But, like, Tree, you have, like, a music degree, in, like, right?
I do. So I ended up getting my master's in music just this past May is when I graduated. So I've been kind of on and off because I started streaming, maybe a year after 2020, if you know what I'm saying. So yeah, it's been really interesting just to kind of like stream and then go to school. And I very, very just recently, literally like, like since it was May, I finally like don't have to do school as much anymore. So I can kind of focus more on my spare time when I can kind of compare some music stuff in video games, which I think is really cool. So, but I mean, video games is what got me into music too. I remember I was in middle school, and the first time I made literally anything that had to do with content or use video game music was the skateboarding video that me and my friends made. You know, we go around the neighborhood and like we'd make a montage, and I had this cheap little fisheye camera with a stick that we would, you know, hold on and we'd record each other. And once the video finished, my friends were like, "What music are you going to use?" And this was like, you know, back in middle school. And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know yet." And I exactly knew what to put in. I just knew I didn't know if they would like it or not, but I put Tension Rising from Kingdom Hearts 2 as the as the montage video for the skateboarding vid. And my friends were like, some of them were like, "That's really dope," and some of them were like, "It's not really like it doesn't go with it." I thought it worked out perfectly because it was so intense. Yeah, you know.
The ones like going, you're like saying Kingdom Hearts was lame.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't know.
yeah. So I kind of like that was the first time I really put something together with video game music. But when I was a kid, you know, I would listen to a lot of just like Pokemon music, and that got me really inspired. And then in high school, I was like, you know what, I'm finally gonna like push myself and actually do band class. But I would always like back then, like I kind of like musically I peaked like late in undergrad, and then my master's I was definitely a lot better. But you know, I still had like the big interest and love like for video game music when I was a kid. So yeah, that was all thanks to like composers like Junichi Masuda, and who's also like a main director for some of the Pokemon games, you know, once Gen 3 came out. And it was just really cool. So he was like a huge inspiration for me to do that. But also, I don't think my parents realized how much these games they were buying me really influenced like the musical side of my interests and stuff like that too. So it's been really cool just to like grow up with absolute bangers and classics, and then kind of see how it's evolved into some more pieces now, you know.
And that's interesting though. Like you pushed yourself into band in high school, because I thought you would have been in band like your entire life. Yeah.
I mean, I was an awful student in middle school. Yeah. I was bad. Like I didn't have any motivation, believe it or not, but I still had like that interest in music. And I mean, if I didn't get into music, you know, I wouldn't have gone to school or anything like that for sure. So it was really interesting to grow up with some of this Pokemon music on the side. And then when I get to my undergrad, we talk about some, you know, composers like Igor Stravinsky, which actually I found out later had a huge influence on Junichi Masuda's career path for his music. So I thought it lined up really well too, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, like finding something you love and then pursuing it. That's
right.
That's the way you got to do it, you know.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, because like on the like flip side of you joining band in high school, I did it in high school so I could go to Disneyland.
Yeah, that's you, dude. You did it the smartest way, man. Yeah, just one and done it. Go for Disneyland.
I would say it was the smartest way. Mm-hmm. But our Disneyland trip got canceled.
Oh no! What happened?
1 year I was in band.
No.
I don't remember. I don't know if they just said they weren't doing the trip or anything. So like halfway through the year, I switched out of band because our teacher was mean.
Yeah, they're brutal. Some of them are really, some of them are like very brutal in a way that'll help you, and then some of them are very brutal and they're just dumb. So it's like, so you know, it's like that. But I'm sorry it got canceled. Damn.
It wasn't like she was brutal because, like, basically, like, if you had a life outside of school, it would be a problem for her.
Right.
And, like, I had a job that I would have to go to after school taking care of dogs and stuff. And yeah. But
exactly.
Anyway, we are totally going off video games right now. Is there I know one of them for sure, but what are some music in video games that like just love that you have to talk about?
Yeah, well, it's crazy because like like if I do know people who are watching, they think I'm going to talk about Pokemon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But believe it or not, I think one of the greatest soundtracks in video game history is Ratchet and Clank. Believe it or not, I think the way the oh sorry, what were you going to say?
Oh, the first one, or like just the genre or the series in
I
general?
think well, I think I think Ratchet and Clank 1 and 2 are very more so, probably more so 1, I think, because I think that game was way ahead of its time, and even with the second one, I think it was too. But it's just like, I think as a composer, it's so tricky to kind of like make sure you get the exact right fit of the music towards the game. And I think with Ratchet and Clank, they had a very fine line of like, or even just in the first 3 mainline games, I think they did a great job of really putting the music exactly towards the just the how should I put it? Just the scene of the game, right? Because Ratchet and Clank, like, it's a very like it's a very funny, it's a very cool, and then it's a really freaking wild game,
Yeah.
right? Like
Oh,
they
yeah.
have all those 3 things all into one, and I think the way they did all of that was perfect with this like space techno, almost war fighting, blow up section is just so perfect. Because if you listen to it now, like some of the beats they have from back then, I think are way better or even compared to most recent games now. One really good example I think of for Ratchet and Clank is Ratchet and Clank 3, right? So there's one part, I don't know if you've played that game at all or if it's been a while.
I haven't actually. So my
Okay.
experience with Ratchet and Clank is Rift Apart. Like I played all of that and
Nice.
got the platinum for it. And
Right.
then on there was like this demo disc me and my brother had as a kid.
Hmm.
And it was called like Jam Pack. And
Yeah.
we played like it had the first 2 levels, and that we just played that like a million times over though.
Heck yeah, let's go.
But yeah.
Well, it's crazy because even it's like it being, because the game is very like Ratchet and Clank games are very funny. Like I was saying, they're very just like action packed, and then sometimes they can just be very chill.
Yeah.
And but it's very subtle as well. Like even if you look at the cover of Ratchet and Clank, right? Like in the second cover, if you see it, it's like Ratchet holding a gun, and then Clank's just looking kind of cool on the left, and then the title is Going Commando. Right. So all in this cover, it's very funny. Going commando, you're getting naked, right? Ha ha. You have the big gun, and then Clank is just being kind of cool.
Yeah.
In Ratchet and Clank 3, there's actually a boss fight where you fight someone named Courtney Gears. And Courtney Gears is straight up supposed to be Britney Spears.
Oh god.
And the whole, like, that fight in particular just gives, like, it's the perfect way to explain Ratchet and Clank to someone, because it's just funny, it's silly, but it's also like, it's really fun and badass just to, be throwing like a lava gun at Courtney Gears, and you have this upbeat rhythm in the background, this very like 2000s resemblance that's nearly identical to a lot of her songs. And I think it's just like, this game is such a beauty. Like they have some very edgy jokes. Like I think before you fight her, the whole thing is like, must destroy squishies. So they're trying to turn people into robots, and they're trying to kill people who aren't robots as well. So it's like, Ratchet says, let's see if you can fight better than you can sing. And it's like, they're just going right after, like,
they're going for the throat.
Yeah, they're going right for the throat, but also the battle music is really good.
Yeah.
And I think from like a music theory standpoint, it's like they use kind of some of the same techniques as like Britney's songs from the 2000s just for that fight. And it sounds almost like they almost stole it or something. So if you guys like, if you end up looking it up, just type in like Courtney Gears boss fight Ratchet and Clank 3. So I think all the music, but just going from something like that to like a boss fight or some type of wave dash race, it's very upbeat, and it just techno-y that fits with the surrounding of like these almost abandoned planets, but also like, it's really interesting too. So I think Ratchet and Clank is a really good example of just like how music fits with the imagery of the actual game, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, no, I mean, and like it's got to music has to like well, it has to be enhance the game in
Right.
general too.
Yeah.
Like that boss fight would probably not be as fun without music,
Exactly.
or and I think that's really cool. Um,
Right.
I
Well, it's also oh,
oh
sorry, go
no,
ahead.
you go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say like just imagine if you had to fight this robot named Courtney Gears, and it's like, oh, okay, haha, like maybe she's Britney Spears, but like the music gives it all. Like if you did not hear the inspired music from Britney Spears for Courtney Gears in this fight, you'd be like, oh, they're just like, they're throwing it at her. But like during the fight,
Uh,
you have all these like 5 or 6 Courtney Gears like dancing, like doing these like weird, just like weird dances that she would do.
yeah.
And there's a part in the fight where you hit her and she gets to a certain percent and she goes, oops, I did it again. And I'm like,
Oh
they're
no!
making for so many, like, just so many references to like just this huge like pop sensation that happened in the 2000s. And I
Yeah,
think when you apply that to something like a video game, it's just such a fun experience, like because you're having a great experience game wise, like making sure you survive and you beat her and stuff like that, but also it's so funny, and I love the power of how music can make something so funny like that too.
yeah. That's really interesting. I like how close they were to a lawsuit with that line too. Like
Yeah,
they were threading the
exactly.
needle there.
That's what I was wondering. Like, I would love if there was an interview, because I maybe there is, but I just haven't checked. But like, maybe it's because the game's old. But like, first of all, I was like, no one would ever do that this day and age. But it was just funny, and it was just fun, and
Yeah.
I didn't even notice it. It was a huge, because I didn't notice the lyrics were a huge reference, because like I didn't listen to like Britney Spears that much. Like I know like my family did, like my sister did growing up and stuff.
Mhm.
So it was just really funny to see. Oops, I did it again. And you don't even have to listen to her to know how famous that line
Yeah.
is.
No, like
And that's the power of it.
that song's still really popular. Like I
It's
feel like
so good. It's
I
a
feel
great
yeah.
song. Yeah.
Um
Exactly.
Speaking of like games that like totally make you feel like with their music.
Mhm.
I was talking about this a little bit before we recorded, but Journey. Have
Right.
you ever got to play Journey?
So I've actually never played it before.
I
I
think
don't know anything about it.
I think you would love it. The entire
Really?
story is told through music. Yeah,
Really?
so like you're basically like this little I don't even know there's no dialogue at all.
Mhm.
Um but you're like this little cloth thing and you have this little scarf and it gives you powers,
Really?
and as you go you
Hmm.
you collect like more of it. It gets longer and longer, and
Wow. You mind if I look this up real
yeah,
quick? I
oh
wanna
yeah,
see what a let me see a picture.
and but what why it's beautiful, and I think it's on Epic now because I think it was on
Really?
PlayStation only for a while, but it came out around the
Wow.
PS3 and it was on the PS4 too.
Whoa.
Um,
Interesting. I've definitely heard of this. Like,
yeah,
I've recognized the imagery of it,
yeah,
but I've
like
never played it before.
I feel like the character is pretty iconic, and I think it won like a ton of awards for its music. Just because
Wow.
it was I don't know if that's a fact though. I'm not gonna say that as a fact, but
No, still, it's
yeah.
really interesting.
And
Wow. It says it's on iOS, Steam, Epic Games. Okay.
it's really cool because you kind of start out as this like it's a really happy adventure. You're going around, you're
Yeah.
collecting the scarf stuff,
Right.
and then it kind of like it's you have this ability and you do like this light orb thing around you, and
Mm.
the bigger you make the orb by holding the circle button or whatever, like the different
Right.
note it will make. Um
That's cool.
and yeah, and it's just like even like from the music to the sound effects, it's so perfect. Um
Yeah.
but the reason I picked this game and I replayed it just for this was I remember there's this like scene where there's these like weird like little cloth like birds and they're like flying around
Mhm.
you and you're sliding
Yeah.
down a sand hill, and it's just
Hmm.
happy music, and then at
Right.
the end of it, there's this jump, um,
Yeah.
and it's like building up, and the music's building up and building up, it
That's really cool.
as you're jumping, and then but you fall, and then it kind
Oh
of
my
turns
gosh.
like a little darker, and your character
Yeah.
falls down into this like dark area, and
Right.
there's these like creatures that are like eating like the light things that you are,
Yeah.
and they'll like they act you know, you spend the whole first part of it like collecting the scarf thing you have,
Right.
and they'll like eat your scarf, and it's like it's terrible, and
That's
it's
terrifying.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like they want to kill you, and it's like oh no, and and the
Wow.
music, it's just, and the music captures all these emotions that you're feeling, and like they
Yeah.
make you feel, it's so beautiful, like it's,
Right.
if like I know video games being called art gets, you know, thrown around a lot, but like this was really an art project. There's no way it
Yeah.
wasn't. It's so
Right.
beautiful.
That's great. Yeah, because from what it sounds like, it's a very interactive. Like it's great to have video games that have awesome soundtracks, but the
Mhm.
way that you interact with them, I feel like can be everything
Yeah.
too. It's like like if you fight, let's just say you fight Sephiroth, right? And from someone who's never, because I played Kingdom Hearts before, Final Fantasy games and stuff like that. So like,
I did too. Yeah.
I'm yeah. I was
Yeah.
just gonna say like it's there's so many people out there who did the same thing. So just imagine someone never hearing One Winged Angel and then encountering Sephiroth, and it's like it's that buildup and that intensity for what you're actually having to do that sometimes makes it cool, but can make it a little harder.
Mhm.
But to actually physically go with the music, I think is really cool because this was like during the Smash 4 days or whatever, when people were talking about Nintendo characters coming or just any characters coming in the game. I personally I really wanted a Rhythm Heaven character. Like the Rhythm Heaven games that were on the Wii and stuff like that, like the Chorus Kids.
Mhm.
I always thought in like games, especially during the Wii era where you'd actually move and have to interact with it. I thought that would be so cool
That
to
would be
have
really, yeah.
I think that would be kind of a cool, and it's a Nintendo IP. I don't think, from what I know, they haven't made any games like on the Switch,
Mhm.
but I just think games like that are really interesting, and it gets people like into music as well.
Yeah, no, I think I mean like I'm thinking of games that like are interactive music wise, like Wii Music comes to mind. I
Right.
don't know if you ever played that, but I remember playing it a little bit as a kid too, where it's like different
Yeah.
trumpets and different, you know,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. You're like, "Oh, that's me playing the
yeah,
trumpet or whatever." Yeah.
and
That was a really good one. Like Melody of Memory has
oh,
been it's actually one of my favorite Kingdom Hearts games
I
because
oh, you're a music guy, yeah, like
right.
it has
Well,
all of it in there,
it has
you know,
all of it and it's like you've just like everyone's been waiting um for it is kind of tricky like it's a whole nother thing, but
Mhm.
it's very tricky bringing up companies music like that just to listen to for free cuz some not for free but just to like just be able to actually listen to it. Like some I know the Pokemon company recently they got all of their Diamond and Pearl tracks from the DS and they put it on their YouTube and they uploaded it on their website and they said, this is free use. You can, like, whoever wants to use this music, you can. And I think that's just really,
I didn't
really
know they did
interesting.
that. I did not know
Yeah.
they did. That's so cool.
I know they 100% did it on their YouTube and I think
Mhm.
they have a download link in their description. And the Pokemon company's always been very giving in that kind of sense. But
Mhm.
I think it was really cool. They went the extra step, and this was maybe like 9 months ago, 7 9 months ago. But they put it all on their YouTube, and it's like, oh, if you want every single track, here it is. You can use it how you want.
Wow.
So that's huge. And I think sometimes it's like the only way I can get these songs, like I know Kingdom Hearts 3, that soundtrack is like on Spotify and stuff like that. But some of these older songs or like the 1.5 remix, it's
Mhm.
like, yeah, I'm sure you could just find the recordings on YouTube, but I love having at least like the bangers in a
Yeah.
select place. So, because
No,
I could just sit down and listen to those songs for hours, but to actually play them in a game, I think is like it's just genius too.
I I actually did do that. So I went to the Kingdom Hearts Orchestra, the last one they did, and
Mhm.
I got to meet Yoko.
I remember you showed
Yeah,
me that picture. Yeah,
I was
that's so
it's weird.
exciting.
I talked to J Ray about this the other night too, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I got to meet her, and it was just like, but that was just one of those experiences. I think I talked about this last episode, so I won't go into it too much. But it honestly felt like I was playing Kingdom Hearts again for the first time, just listening to that music
Mm,
with this
right.
audience. I was in the third row too, and I was like, oh,
That's
it was so
insane,
cool. It
Trousers.
was just like
Wow.
that experience of I don't know, I guess community, with everyone else too. Like
Right.
there were so many people dressed up as like different
Hmm.
characters there too, which is is insane.
Yeah.
And then um oh gosh, I don't know. And then to
But
end the
dude,
night,
that's
like Tetsu Nomura came out on stage and was like, "Hey guys, Kingdom Hearts Remind
wow.
DLC. Here's the trailer before everyone else."
That is crazy. So you were actually there for that.
Yeah, that was the LA one.
Dude, that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's honestly a once in a lifetime experience
it,
too.
dude. I know, I know. I
Wow.
really hope it's not though, cause like it. Oh, their other LA convent. So their first like orchestra, they did that with the Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer.
Hmm.
And it was the same week of E3. So I was
Wow.
down there, for I didn't go to the first orchestra. I wish I did. But
Hmm.
so I'm thinking this year at E3 if they do like a Final Fantasy orchestra or something, they might show 7 Rebirth
Yeah.
or something like the announce.
Right. I forget what video game franchise it was, but I did see how some companies are, or some orchestras are like going back on tour, which is really cool.
Great.
Um,
Yeah,
which is awesome. But man, I love that picture of you and Yoko Shimomura though too.
it's great. It's
Did
great.
you
Like
did you get to say anything to her, or
not
were you
real,
just
because there
like,
was like a line of like 100 something people,
right?
so like, I
Definitely.
said, I loved her music and thank you
Mm,
basically, and that was it. And I wish I
right.
could have sat down and like talked with her for a while, but like I
Man,
get it.
that's
Like
so cool.
I didn't want
I
to
mean,
hold up the line either. Like I was
right. Well, there's so much to go off of that because for one, it's like that's just the power of live music too. You know, it's like something about that human interaction of actually like hearing it but also feeling it is something that like when you were saying it felt like you were playing Kingdom Hearts like one for the first time again.
yeah,
It's kind of like, for you, I don't know if that was your first ever like Kingdom Hearts concert because I know they would do orchestra tours and
yeah.
stuff like that
That
before.
was my first one and only so far. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's another experience, first time that you're gonna have for the rest of your life too. It's like sitting in front of a TV, like or a monitor nowadays, or just like
Yeah.
playing a game for the first time. It's like there's that magical experience, but then you can also relive that through live music. And it's just so crazy
Mhm.
how much like that human interaction of music makes a difference too. I'm not saying like we all have amazing experiences like playing a new game and hearing new music. But it's just it can get like it's crazy you can have that new feeling again just by going to hear the same song in person. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
And it bring music like really triggers memories. And
yeah,
it's
it's like a sense or a taste, that brings back a memory.
yeah,
But yeah, sorry, what were you gonna say?
oh, it's almost like, well, it's almost like riding a bike. Like you don't forget it. Like your memories aren't gonna forget the like where you heard
Right.
this music. Like even if you can't place it all the time, like you're like, I know I've heard this song. I know I
Yeah.
heard, but
Right.
um
Well, one thing about Yoko Shimomura is that she was I think I saw this from her own tweet, but this was like maybe a couple months ago, but the composer of Dragon Quest passed away, and he was like a huge inspiration for a lot of the big music composers, like yes, in Japan, but also just in the video game community. I mean,
Yeah.
he was the real deal. So
I and
he's a very or go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, and like honestly, I've never played a Dragon Quest game, but I know
Hmm.
some of their music too. Like Dragon Quest
Yes,
has really iconic music. Yeah.
exactly. That's what I was thinking too, because like I haven't beaten Dragon Quest 11 yet, but that's my first Dragon Quest game. But I love
Okay.
like I'm very attracted to just like the visual art style
Yeah.
and like the music for sure. Like it's the god of, you know, RPGs from what people say.
Yeah.
So I was actually watching a video about the composer of Dragon Quest, and he was saying I think he made the main overture melody in 5 minutes, which is crazy. And he only had a couple of days to make the whole soundtrack for the very first game, which is just wild.
That's insane. Yeah.
And when he was thinking about what style and genre I should make for the series, he actually ended up choosing classical. And one reason he chose that genre is because classical music has been around for like hundreds of years. So it's a genre that clicks and it stays. And I think that's very interesting with a franchise that just celebrated. I think they celebrated their 35th anniversary or their like 36th something.
Yeah.
I know a year ago
Yeah.
they celebrated some anniversary. Um, but yeah, it's very interesting that he chose like classical music as a genre for the series, and it fits so well too, you
Mhm.
know. And I just think he's like his music is amazing, and I want to play the games and I want to listen to it. Um, they had the regular, they had like MIDI tracks, I think, for Dragon Quest 11, and then they made like the definitive edition for the Switch, which included like orchestra arrangements of these songs, which sound amazing.
Yeah.
They even had like a Nintendo Switch Dragon Quest console that was really cool. There's like a Slime Pro controller out there. I
I want
definitely know.
I
They're
want that
so
controller.
cool.
It looks
Yeah.
terrible to hold, but I would love to
Yeah, it looks
display
awful.
it.
Yeah, it looks so uncomfortable, but I know Yoko Shimomura was like very like
Mhm.
tons of music of composers were, you know, inspired by his music. So I want to just go back and like and play some of it too, you know.
Yeah. No, I would love to check out Dragon Quest eventually. That's so sad. I didn't hear about the composer though.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this was about maybe like 5 or 6 months ago. Um, but yeah, I know Yoko Shimomura like made a tweet saying, you know, like I'll pray for his soul or something like that, meaning like, oh my gosh, I didn't know he passed away.
Yeah.
So but yeah, his music is amazing, and he was definitely inspired by a lot of just classical music with composers, and that brought me to like, oh my gosh, like so was like Junichi Masuda, like some of the like people have to understand he isn't like the one person who works on all of it, but he's a main guy who does that because he's also like a producer for some of the later gen games. But he used to play trombone and stuff
Okay.
like that too. And he loves this song called, or this piece called "The Rite of Spring," and it's just very crazy how many of these songs are inspired by like these classical composers back in the day. So I think it's like it's really cool to see that relatability of like Yoko Shimomura and like the composer of Dragon Quest and the composer of Pokemon, and it's just like it's so cool to me, you
Yeah.
know.
No, I think like composers wrote our childhood, honestly.
Yeah.
And
Right.
like especially like, Pokemon for me was probably like it's weird to say it for me just cuz like a lot of people like well, it is an RPG, a JRPG,
Right.
But like a lot
Mhm.
of people don't really realize that about Pokemon that and it's like
Right.
well, I mean like sometimes they do, but like I mean like kind of like the non big gamer people, like the guys who are just more casual, they don't really,
Mhm.
realize that. And so it's like, but I guess
Right.
Pokemon, in a sense, was my first JRPG, just because I
Yeah.
played that when I was like 3.
Mhm.
Like my brother's old
Wow.
copy of
What was
Blue. You
So
know,
that was your first game, Blue.
that was my first one, Blue, but I think the first one I beat was Crystal because I was pretty
Okay.
young. You know.
Well, I
Uh,
was gonna say because you're wearing blue, the
oh,
background's blue, and I'm like,
yeah.
what a time to celebrate,
But
yeah.
but and then Kingdom Hearts I feel like was my like more first in depth RPG that I've ever played.
Right.
Um,
Mm,
and
man, dude.
Disney, I guess they they killed it, with
Yeah.
I mean Disney music in general is already incredible, like,
Right.
or at least the not maybe not Disney Channel, but like
Mm.
but like their movies.
Were
It
there any
makes
were there
sense.
any songs you listened to that were just like, oh my gosh, like video game music is amazing, or like you just that have just
Yeah.
stuck with you ever since, I guess.
Honestly, I mean all the Kingdom Hearts music seems to stick with me like all the time, like
Right.
um and I think, but like if I had to pick like one, like I got to go with like song openings, I
Hmm.
guess, cuz like, that's your first intro to like and I'm not going to go with Kingdom Hearts on that cuz like I love their openings, but like lately
Right.
the one that's been sticking with me is gosh, there's a couple now that I'm thinking about it, but I was going to say Fire Emblem 3 Houses. That opening
Yeah.
is incredible. Have you had a chance to play Fire Emblem?
So I haven't played. I've actually never played a Fire Emblem game.
That was my first one and it was the
Really,
best. Yeah, it was the best.
I've heard some bangers from Three Houses though.
Yeah. No, Three Houses has incredible music. That and like
Hmm.
the when I was like the one that popped into my head while I was saying that too was Persona 5 also. Yeah,
Yes, right,
that series is also another one.
man,
That was my first Persona game was the original
right.
5. And
Hmm.
what was the song? I know the whole beat. I can't think of the title. Um gosh. Um but like the opening is just so great. And then like I don't think Persona 5 Royal is also a really great like game, but I think their
Right.
opening is lacking compared to like the original Persona 5s. You
Right.
know?
Yeah, that's true too.
Like
Well,
I love I love both the songs a lot, but I think just
mhm.
style and music wise, like the tone fits the game better for the opening for 5 than 5 Royal. Yeah.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, listen, I was gonna get it's crazy how Persona was announced for PC and then like just a couple days later it's like it's coming to Nintendo Switch and I'm like I'm probably gonna buy it on the Switch
Yeah.
just because I want to play it anywhere. But yeah, I've heard that same thing, Charles. I've heard people say like I've heard some Persona songs and stuff, but I want to have that experience of it in the
Well,
game and
yeah,
stuff
and I
too.
mean like I've only played 3, 4 and 5 like honestly, like most people. But
Right.
they each game has like its own kind of genre, I guess, where it's like
Hmm.
three's more like rock based, and
Really?
then four is kind of more like pop in a sense,
Yeah.
and then five
Interesting.
is like jazz.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I like that they kind of wrote a million songs kind of trying to fit this genre, and
Yeah.
like
That's
they
cool.
give it a color and like a genre, and they're like, okay, this is kind of the box we're trying to stick in, and like
Yeah.
I think I
Definitely.
think it makes them feel a little more unique, just music wise.
Right. Yeah, it's also funny how like when you're saying how Persona 5 is just like there's a lot of jazz influence for their music.
Mhm.
Um or like some bebop and stuff. It's funny how sometimes games will just slip in like a genre just randomly. Like I remember in when I was a kid and I was playing Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, I was like, oh, I'm going to fight the champion. And
Uh-huh.
you go up to Cynthia, and as you're talking to her, you get the piano theme like bum ba bum, bum ba bum, bum ba bum, bum ba bum, like all of that. And I was like, when I was a kid, I was like, I have never heard this kind of thing in a Pokemon game before. And it was like, it was so fitting and it was so intense that I was just like, I was kind of in shock for a second too. And it was just all piano. Like that was it. And it's funny because I remember even like showing that to my parents
Uh-huh.
when I was a kid too, and they're like, "Oh my gosh!"
Oh,
Like,
like Pokemon's Pokemon's getting
like
turned.
yeah. Well, it was funny because it's funny because they were just like they're like, "Oh, haha!" Like they appreciate it, but they were like, "Oh, that's cool." But to me, I'm like my parents don't know that I'm about to fight like the craziest motherfucker in the whole Pokemon series.
Yeah.
And it's just adding to it. So
That's great.
it is really cool because like you have a lot of like Pokemon Gen 3, you have a lot of trumpet themed melodies with, Ruby and Sapphire, and then in Diamond and Pearl, it is sometimes you'll get those like little classical bites of things. Not as much though, but like for Pokemon Black and White,
Mhm.
it was the whole region was based off New York and like New York City. And I think it's really interesting because you have a lot of metal electronic music that was inspired for that generation.
Yeah.
And that was all because Junichi Masuda as a musician like wanted to see some he wanted to actually perform at Carnegie Hall, which is crazy. He ended up not being able to because he wanted to actually conduct a song with the orchestra that performed some of the Pokemon music. But he was just going around listening to a lot of the genres and listening to shows. And that inspired like the whole generation. So like if he didn't go to visit and get that music inspiration, then maybe we wouldn't have the same Gen 5 as we did today.
Yeah.
So even like the beginning of the Elite Four theme in Black and White is just this crazy like punk metal like beats in the background that are so intense. And I think it's just that game stands out to me as just like a whole different, like it's so different than the other games. And I think it was just of that New York City influence with music. So I think that's awesome.
Also with Gen 5, I noticed someone posted a video of it, is how I noticed it, but it's like when you're walking, like that's when the drum beats are going.
Yeah, they have like snare drums when you're walking, and then it stops when you stop.
Yeah, and
which is really cool.
Insane. I've never seen anything like that in a game. And
that game is so underappreciated. Like everyone, like it's weird because like I don't know, like playing it now as I'm older, like I think Pokemon Black 2 and White 2 are the best Pokemon games. Like they don't need a remake. The 2D looks amazing. Make some 2D Pokemon games again,
honestly,
like
I don't know. Don't like it seems like people would love them.
Right.
But I also get like they're trying to appeal to a more like newer audience where
right.
That's also so you kind of have to find like a nice middle ground.
Exactly.
But, like, 2D remakes of games would still be appreciated,
Right. Well, even like Dragon Quest 3, they're getting an HD 2D remake. Ooh. And that's going to be using the Octopath Traveler engine. And I don't know if you've seen the trailer, but it
beautiful.
It's beautiful, dude. Beautiful. Yeah. It's like, Pokemon's and they're the biggest multimedia platform company in the world. You think with games like even a new Pokemon Snap coming out, Mystery Dungeon, the mainline games, you think they would sneak into that kind of 2D realm of 2D remakes, because that's another whole game category you could make money off of.
Yeah, honestly, if they released a 3D remake of Pokemon Red and Blue and a 2D remake like right after, I'd buy both.
Right.
Of them.
Right, and that's what
that's what. Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but in Dragon Quest 11, you can go from 3D to 2D in the game, and I think that's really cool to me.
I actually know that. That is really cool.
I could be totally wrong, but I think it was part of like the definitive edition that came out, but I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, all these composers like that we grew up with and stuff, like they're all connected too. Like they know each other.
Yeah, that's really cool to think they have like a clubhouse or something.
Yeah. It's just it's so cool, and it's like I I hope they know how appreciative like some fans are of their music too,
Yeah,
you know?
I hope they do too. Cause like, and I think that's the thing too. Like you were saying, all the composers know each other. That's also, I guess, not too shocking though, because like, music. Look how music connects the fans, right? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably more intense if you're a composer for video games. Like
Right.
like you're all being inspired by each other and you're all like creating these pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's very true. And it's like you can really like let's say you get someone that doesn't like Terra and you get someone that loves Terra, right? It's like
okay,
you can
so
talk about
someone who's right and someone who's wrong.
yeah. Big facts, big facts. Skipping that, I will say it is very good for the community because like it's something that like everyone can really agree on. It's like this song is a banger. This song fits the atmosphere really well.
Uh,
Um, and I think that's just really cool. Like I personally like I loved Kingdom Hearts 3. I think some of the remakes of the songs they did for the game were great. I personally wanted just like more new songs than a lot of the remakes they did, but I'm really looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 4 because that's just going to be like a whole new setting, I
yeah,
think.
and I think music's gonna have to be different too. Like,
Yeah.
so what I love about Kingdom Hearts is like their Disney inspired music, but
Yes.
you can't do that with Quadratum. You
Right.
can't. It's not Disney. Well, or well, it
Exactly.
might be, but like I don't know
Mhm.
really how they're gonna do it. But like, I mean, Shibuya's not Disney. You're gonna have to
Right.
come up with some incredible music for that. That's completely
Yeah.
original and and they Kingdom
Right.
Hearts does that of course too, but it's just
Of course, right. Well, it's like, are they gonna like? Obviously, they're gonna make new pieces, but it's like, what are they gonna find for their inspiration for a city like this? Are they gonna go the Persona 5 route and maybe because like ever since I heard the dearly beloved jazz theme from Melody of Memory,
Mhm.
I've been thinking about like what if we went to the Incredibles in Kingdom Hearts 4? Like I would love a fighting jazz themed city inspirational like kind of world or fight because
yeah,
like Quadratums like what's a Pixar or a Disney franchise that's has a real life like there are a lot of them but I think the Incredibles like cuz technically
yeah,
Sora has like if you want to look at it from the movie of Incredibles technically Sora has superpowers, right? And he's
yeah,
just living in the city. Who else does that? The Incredibles do.
yeah.
They're low radar. They're superheroes, like doing everything. And I just think the jazz music from the Incredibles would be so cool to hear, like something
A
like that
Kingdom
in
Hearts,
Kingdom Hearts.
that would be really
Yeah,
cool. Yeah,
like man, I would love to fuck shit up and hear like a jazz theme and go ham
that's
and stuff like
interesting
that.
too, because like I never really thought about the Incredibles because my superhero stuff was pretty covered by Big Hero 6, which was my favorite
Right,
world or one of my favorite worlds in Kingdom Hearts 3. Just
definitely.
I really hope the city too, by the way. Like this is a little off topic, but I really hope that city is just as expansive as San
Yeah,
Francisco, like
definitely.
I want to explore. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure. And this is the time for them to explore new stuff too because like when I saw the trailer, I was like what's the dearly beloved menu going to sound like?
Oh.
You know? Like that was the biggest thing. Are they going to make it like let's say Quadratum is a bit like jazz themed like Persona 5 walking around. Are they going to make another jazz themed dearly beloved kind of like they did in Melody of Memory? Or
It would
it's
fit. It would
it would fit.
it would fit.
But it's like cuz they have to make dearly beloved, right? They have to make that.
It's a staple of Kingdom Hearts at this point. Yeah.
It's a staple, right? I mean, it is like I don't know. It just gets me thinking a lot too, you
Yeah.
know.
No, and I
Um
mean like Kingdom Hearts 4, no one knows what to expect here, like at this
right.
point. And I love that. I love
Mhm.
seeing all the theories, like Landy and Lands. I saw they did a theory or which ties into stuff coming up into Kingdom Hearts 4. Um
Right.
just it's very interesting to see ideas tossed around like this. Um,
Right.
Theories are one of those things like I love, but I don't
Mhm.
want to make because I don't want to like I just want to see what happens. I want to, that's what it
Right.
is, you know?
Yeah, that's a big thing too. Well, even with like as soon as I heard the like when I was watching the Kingdom Hearts 4 trailer, kind of at the very end,
Uh-huh.
it sounds very fanfare like, very heroic. It sounds very superhero-y. And I wonder, like, is Sora going to be that superhero in Quadratum? You
I
know?
might have to take a look at that trailer again and try to hear that. Yeah, cuz like
Well, and Andy made a really good video of how there's a comparison of the theme to Iron Man and how you can hear something. So check out,
so
Andy
we're
Brew's
getting
video on
Iron
that.
Man.
So I'm not saying that.
Andy
I'm not
confirmed
saying
Iron
that.
Man.
I'm not saying that. But I am definitely just saying that before like the Kingdom Hearts 4 logo appears, it's very fanfare like and it's very superhero-y. And I think that's like I don't know if that's an indication of, different types of superheroes from the Disney franchise we'll see, or if we're going to be that superhero because the trailer was shown in the city and we could be that superhero. So
Yeah, but
I don't know.
also if this is true, there's a big old rumor going around based off a piece of metal on the ground in the trailer about Star Wars.
Right.
And Star Wars has it like movie wise, I think has some of the best music ever.
Oh yeah, John Williams,
Yeah.
right. 100%.
So I would
Man.
love to see some Star Wars music Kingdom Heartsified. You know,
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I
I
mean, because I think John Williams, he just turned 90, I think a month or so ago, which is crazy. And he was I think he was sorry, he turned 90 a couple years ago when the last movie of the trilogy was about to release. So he's over
oh
90.
wow, yeah,
Um
because what that was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago now.
yeah, 2 or 3 years ago, I
Yeah,
think.
that would be cool if they brought him in to like help though if they do Star Wars.
Man. Right.
Like
I mean,
I could see him coming back for that a little bit. I mean, he probably also
yeah.
like wants to retire, but like no one will let
Right.
him.
Yeah. Well, it could be, like with composers, it's like they're always composing things like their whole life, and some of them never stop.
Yeah,
Like there's a well, well, yeah. I mean, John Williams is just one of those composers. It's like he's the most legendary and iconic composer now, for modern day music. And yeah, if we did get some of that, like I think I could go all off topic about Star Wars being in Kingdom Hearts. I'll just
yeah,
make it short. Like I would love to see it because one, like the narrative and the story of Star Wars fits perfectly with the story, like the narrative of Kingdom Hearts.
yeah.
And think about the amazing music they could make for that.
Mhm.
Because like that's another thing with Star Wars. It's like the music fits so well with the imagery, and I think that's what really makes a great game sometimes too. Like the music is so like with Pokemon, for instance, like all of this, like you have this battle music, you have like this calm music, it's soothing. Like the whole idea of it is being on a journey,
Yeah,
but it's not really about you, it's about you and the Pokemon you share that journey with. And I think like the whole kind of friendly interactions of that with battles is what makes Pokemon so perfect and one of
yeah.
my favorite franchises.
And I know one thing you've been pointing out a lot too is like the eyes. They're like, sorry, like with Kingdom Hearts comparisons too, is
Hmm.
their eyes like the of the Siths? They turn yellow when they turn to the yeah. And
Yeah, exactly.
I like that, but if we're gonna go the Star Wars route, I don't want to start at Endor. Like I think that seems
Yeah,
weird to start at Endor, and I really hope it's not Endor.
right.
Because like everyone likes to compare it, but like
Hmm.
no one points out like the trees are really thin for giant redwood trees.
Right.
Like and that's where Endor was
Yeah.
filmed in like a redwood forest.
Right.
So
You know
I
what would just
yeah.
be so crazy though? Because I mean, you would know this more than me, but like Big Hero 6 and Kingdom Hearts 3, like that was considered like a sequel to the main series, right? Or the whole
Yes.
franchise.
Yeah.
Um, listen, just imagine if we go to a specific timeline period of Star Wars and Kingdom Hearts, and it could end up being canon, like some of the side comics and the
Yeah.
Clone Wars and stuff for Star Wars. Because if you think Kingdom Hearts can be complicated, like timeline wise, Star Wars can actually
No,
be
no,
kind of tricky.
I listen to like audiobooks at work and stuff for Star Wars all the time. Um,
Right,
and like they could, if it was Endor, they could still do it because like
right,
there's tons of books that follow like right after Endor happened. You know, like
exactly.
Star Wars Battlefront 2 took place right at the Battle of Endor, basically ending and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
So no, exactly. That's a great point.
so
Man, but
there's a lot. Yeah,
so yeah, I don't. That would be really cool.
I
Cause,
think so too.
um, but yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I do think a lot of the like I think I appreciate it more now that I'm older. But like the whole series of Ratchet and Clank with their music just fits incredibly well
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
whole game. You know.
I honestly, I think, like again, some of my experience with Ratchet and Clank. Actually, I these are always on my desk, but I have like Ratchet and Clank pops.
Oh, that's awesome. Let's
But
go.
like I'm falling in love with the series, and I plan on going to play all of them again. I'm really
Right.
glad. I'm gonna start listening towards that music while I'm playing them now. So
Yeah,
that you brought that up.
definitely check it out. And if you ever, uh, find the game online, check it out and play them and listen to some of the music too,
Yeah.
because it's just it's really like because I love Pokemon music and Kingdom Hearts music, but I think it's very tricky to get a song like songs to fit with Ratchet and Clank, because if you just took it all away, it would be
Yeah.
kind of confusing. And they definitely mix a bit of classical with this techno upbeat
Yeah,
music
and you
in that.
also want to fit like the sci-fi genre, which it is, and like
Right.
there's a lot of routes to go, and it's
Exactly.
yeah. Um,
Right. Dude. Yeah, it's really cool. But do you have any games like right now where you've played recently where you're like, "Oh my gosh, the music's amazing for
so
this."
I'm replaying Final Fantasy VII remake. I'm almost done with it, and
Nice.
Hallow has like become one of my favorite songs, which is
Mm,
just like I think it's just during when you're in Sector 5,
right.
where it's like Aerith's house. I don't know if you've played remake, right? Or
I actually haven't,
oh,
but
okay.
I do know. I mean, I looked up the endings and stuff.
Oh, okay. There you go. So you
Like,
played it. No.
it's awful. It's bad, but yeah, I did do that.
um,
Um,
but yeah, so like that song is like perfect. It's just
right.
everything it is. It like it gives you a feeling of homeliness, I guess. Like it feels
Hmm.
like you're in a safe area, but you're
Right.
also in a new area at the same time, like as Cloud, where it's
Yeah.
still mysterious enough, but you're still like feel safe.
Hmm.
Like I don't know, it's something
Right.
about that song. It fits that
Yeah.
so well.
No.
Um,
Yeah. It's just all the. It seems like a lot of the FF7, like the FF7 music, just goes absolutely ham.
yeah,
Like even for because when sometimes like with the Smash DLC, when the composers on the team would get a chance to remake some of the music with the composer's permission. Um, like I know the remix music for FF7 and Smash is the best remix music they have in that game. I think they absolutely killed it.
yeah. I mean, like it's man, Smash is like just a just a pool of like incredible remixes too. I never
Just
really, yeah,
it's a pool of legal nightmares.
yeah. I'm sure. Yeah.
I feel like would be kind of
Dude,
crazy.
their lawyers need a raise or something though.
Dude, I don't know who they hire or who they get to do that,
That
but yeah, it is there's so much music there too, you
like
know.
yeah, and like I think one of my favorite things though in Smash, just music wise, is like the Persona music. Because not only
Right.
is it like really cool, but it changes the
Hmm.
color of that stage,
Right.
and it's like,
Yeah.
and that's so clever to me. Just
Right. It is. And it's like it's making I think something really awesome about different franchises getting in that game is people, yeah, they get to experience the character and the stages and visually see what the game might be about, but they also get to experience the really good music. And they're like, "Oh, I might have to check this out. I might have to listen to the original piece or I might have to like go back and play the game." Like that's the power of Smash,
and
you know.
I felt like Joker also did that a lot for Persona. Like a lot of people seem to want to play Persona after his announcement in Smash. With
Right.
like and that's the best Smash announcement. I'm sorry, that is the best one to
Yeah.
my like. I love Sora. That one was my favorite. But
Mhm.
the best one was like they literally made a video like it was a heist at the Game Awards.
Right.
It and
Exactly.
it was so like almost interactive in a way of an announcement.
And
Um
actually, that costed the, development team the most money. That was the most expensive trailer to make,
wow.
believe it or not.
I don't doubt it. Like I mean, first
Yeah.
of all, you're probably paying to advertise at the Game Awards, first of all.
Right.
But then like that trailer, you have to get the Persona music, which
Oh
they
my
added.
gosh.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, it's just it has to be tricky, but you're right. I mean, I stayed up all night for that trailer, and everyone was shocked
Yeah.
about it too.
Yeah, I think
But
that one was just the coolest to me. Like as much as I love Sora's trailer and like Sora was the character I wanted the most.
same, yeah.
Um it was just I have to give it to like Joker just because it was such a big reveal. It was shocking.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
Dude, big facts.
All right. Tree, we are coming up on an hour already.
I know,
I
that's
was
crazy.
like
I was just about to say that. Yeah, do you have like anything else to say before we wrap it up or
I think honestly, like I just the style of music it's just it's mind-boggling how it can
Mhm.
affect like again mostly childhood for me because like
Right.
that's the music I like to stick with is like stuff I've heard, and like memories. I guess the memories that I'm like I said, I'm still tired today, but like the memories that are like brought up through like childhood video game music is incredible.
Right.
Yeah, like I every time I hear the original Dearly Beloved, I think of the first time I put in the Kingdom
Right.
Hearts 2 disc into
Exactly.
into my PS2 and
Definitely.
um yeah, cuz that was I think I've told this story to Landy before, but I got into Kingdom Hearts because my brother's friend and my friend too, but he's like my brother's age, so I was the annoying little brother basically at the time. He
Mhm.
brought that game over and let me play it, and I'm sure it was to get them off their backs while they hung out or whatever. but
Oh my gosh.
but like that's I got addicted to Kingdom Hearts, and then I
Yeah.
remember my parents getting me Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories on the Game Boy Advance for my birthday,
Right.
and like all the all the great memories. It like they line up in like order of like how I did this, and it's like
Right.
looking at a timeline in my mind
Mhm.
from
Dude,
beautiful music.
it's like at the end of the day, dude, video games offer a lot more than people think,
Do
you know?
they they really do?
And people are like, "Oh, it's like $60 for a game." And it's like so many people like put their heart and soul in this game, like basically making a new creation. It's just it's so cool and the music like, like if I didn't play Pokemon, like
Mhm.
I wouldn't for one have found Pokemon,
Yeah,
which I love, but for two, I wouldn't have like gone into music
but
or just like, wanted to be more interested in it and stuff
a-
too.
and I know Landy says this a lot, and it's kind of become my motto too for it. But like, where do you get a deal that good like for $60? Like for like Persona was like almost 200 hours of gameplay for me, Royal.
Right.
Like, where do you get 200 hours of entertainment
Exactly.
for $60. Like,
Where do you get 1,400 songs for less than $60 with Smash?
yeah, yeah, and like
New songs, yeah.
even
It's like,
Melody of Memories that had like
right.
120 songs on it, didn't? Yeah, that's
Yep.
insane.
And they picked the bangers, bro. They
Yeah.
picked the best ones.
They did, and they gave
But
us a new version of Dearly Beloved, like you said, like the
right.
like, which is like one of my favorite versions of that song now.
Oh yeah, same
Yeah.
here. It's so good.
All right. But yeah, so guys, that was. Wait, did you have any final points? I didn't ask that.
Dude, no, I was just gonna say thank you so much for having me on, man. And I would love in the future, like even if we, because I know you were talking about it, even if we got like a bunch of other people to talk about this subject, because
Yeah.
there's so much music in video games, like when you're talking about journeys, like that I just don't know
Yeah,
that
and
I would love to find out.
that's why I like with when Brennan's here and stuff too. I kind of wish he was here for this episode because he doesn't play Kingdom Hearts. He's never played it. He's never played. He likes Halo and he likes other like games that I don't really talk about too much. Like
Right.
my guests tend to be like friends that I know who I met from like KH20 and like so it's
Yeah.
like we always talk about Kingdom Hearts and I feel bad about that. But then he brings up like Zelda. I've never actually played Zelda, and
Hmm.
like he'll bring up like stuff that I've never played. And I'm like, wow, I really need to check out these games. And
Right.
I love that aspect from from his point of view.
Dude, yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I get some funny looks when I'm like, "Have you heard of like Courtney Gears from Ratchet and Clank?" And people are like, "What?" And I'm telling you, man, that's one of the best music and boss experiences I've ever had
I,
in video
I'm
games.
gonna I'm
Was
gonna
just that.
I'm gonna have to look it up like right
Because
after this.
because I just like yeah, there's something about like some people love it when things are serious and
Mm,
passionate, but for me it's like I love it when things are funny, and that was just so freaking funny to me. So but yeah, dude, thank you again so much for having me on. I
yeah,
really appreciate it.
anytime. Like we'll have to have you back too for sure. Like
Woo! All right,
whether it's
man.
music, whether it's just some other topic. Oh,
Oh, whoops.
ah,
Here, let me try. There we go.
it's like a Pikachu on my screen.
There we go.
Oh, let's
Yeah.
go. so,
Ah!
so on like my side on the OBS, it's just his eye like sticking out behind you.
That's
It's
amazing.
great. I love him. But yeah, again, Treehouse, where can we find you one more time, real quick, before we
Oh
end
yeah.
this?
Y'all can find me on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram with the same handle of treehouse_TTV. So
Perfect. Yeah,
check me
and I'll
out.
have those links in the description again.
Oh,
Again,
thanks, man.
guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Treehouse, a pleasure, an honor.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you
No,
so
always a
much.
pleasure and talk to. Thanks for all. You're always just super nice and super cool, and I love talking to
Thank-
you, man. So
I
thank
love
you so much
talking
for
with you
everything,
too, man. Thank you.
dude. Of course.
Anyway, guys, have a great night. We'll see you next time. Bye.